Right now, as you watch this video, you might be holding a legal poison in your hand, a silent substance that's eating away at your joints, your cartilage, day by day. Without you even knowing it, what you think is filling or healthy might actually be the very thing triggering chronic, silent inflammation in the kitchens of millions of people over the age of 60. This isn't just another empty warning, it's a fact confirmed by countless recent clinical studies. But what's even scarier? The most familiar foods, porridge, bread, even certain vegetables, are quietly destroying your body's natural ability to heal. Hi, it's Vernon again, and for the past 25 years, I've specialized in geriatric nutrition, helping thousands of seniors reclaim their mobility and reduce their pain through targeted dietary changes. My journey into nutrition for seniors began when my own mother, at age 68, was told by her rheumatologist that her severe rheumatoid arthritis would only get worse and that increasing her medication dosage was her only option. But here's what changed everything for our family. Within just 6 weeks of eliminating specific inflammatory foods from her diet and introducing targeted anti-inflammatory alternatives, my mother experienced a 70% reduction in her morning stiffness and was able to reduce her pain medication by half. That transformation sparked my mission to help seniors understand that the right nutrition choices can be more powerful than any prescription when it comes to managing arthritis naturally. In the next few minutes, you're going to discover the 5 worst foods that are secretly destroying your joints and keeping you trapped in a cycle of chronic inflammation. But here's the promise I'm making to you. If you stay with me until the very end, I'll reveal the specific best foods and anti-inflammatory alternatives that can help you start experiencing arthritis relief within just days of making these changes. You're ready to take control of your joint health and start living with less pain and inflammation. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because this channel is dedicated to empowering seniors with the knowledge they need to age gracefully and maintain their independence through proper nutrition. Let me start with what might be the most surprising inflammatory culprit hiding in refrigerators across America. 1. Processed and deli meats. These seemingly convenient protein sources contain a dangerous combination of advanced glycation end products, known as AGs, along with preservatives like sodium nitrates that trigger powerful inflammatory cascades in your body. A groundbreaking study published in the Journal of Nutrition found that seniors who consumed processed meats more than 3 times per week showed inflammatory markers that were 40% higher than those who avoided these foods entirely. The saturated fats in processed meats also disrupt your body's omega-3 to omega-6 fatty acid balance, creating a pro-inflammatory environment that specifically targets joint tissue. Last spring, I met Catherine, a 72-year-old retired teacher, at a community health fair where I was speaking about inflammation naturally. She approached me afterward, walking slowly with obvious discomfort, explaining that her knee arthritis had become so severe that she'd stopped taking her daily walks around the neighborhood. During our conversation, Catherine mentioned that she'd been eating turkey sandwiches for lunch every day for the past 2 years, thinking she was making a healthy choice. When I explained how the nitrates and preservatives in deli turkey were likely contributing to her joint inflammation, Catherine was initially skeptical. However, she agreed to try replacing her daily deli meat with grilled chicken breast that she prepared herself on Sundays. 3 weeks later, Catherine called me with excitement in her voice, reporting that her morning stiffness had decreased significantly and she was back to taking her beloved neighborhood walks. Instead of processed meats, choose wild-caught salmon, free-range chicken breast, or plant-based proteins like lentils and quinoa. These alternatives provide clean protein without the inflammatory additives, and fish especially delivers those crucial omega-3 fatty acids that actively fight inflammation. The contrast couldn't be more dramatic when you understand how your food choices either fuel inflammation or help extinguish it. 2. Refined sugar and high fructose corn syrup. Moving deeper into our inflammatory food investigation, we encounter perhaps the most insidious arthritis aggravator, refined sugar and its evil twin, high-fructose corn syrup. These sweet saboteurs don't just satisfy your cravings. They actively reprogram your immune system to attack your own joint tissue through a process called glycation. When you consume refined sugars, they bind directly to proteins in your cartilage and synovial fluid, creating toxic compounds that your immune system identifies as foreign invaders. This triggers an autoimmune-like response, where your body begins attacking your own joints, fueling the exact inflammation that makes arthritis so painful. This reality hit home when I was consulting with Robert, a 67-year-old former construction worker who came to my office last fall. Robert had been struggling with severe arthritis in his hands and shoulders, which was particularly challenging given his love for woodworking in his garage workshop. During our nutritional assessment, Robert revealed that he developed a habit of drinking 2 large sweet teas throughout the day, plus enjoying a bowl of ice cream most evenings while watching television. I explained to Robert how the 45+ grams of sugar he was consuming daily was essentially pouring gasoline on his inflammatory fire. We worked together to gradually replace his sweet tea with unsweetened green tea enhanced with fresh lemon and a touch of raw honey, and swapped his nightly ice cream for Greek yogurt topped with fresh berries. Within 5 weeks, Robert texted me a photo of a beautiful jewelry box he'd completed, something he couldn't have managed just months earlier due to hand stiffness. Research from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition demonstrated that individuals consuming more than 25 grams of added sugar daily experienced inflammatory marker increases of up to 60% within just 2 weeks. For seniors whose bodies already process sugars less efficiently, this inflammatory response can be even more pronounced and longer lasting. Instead of refined sugars, choose fresh berries, which contain natural anthocyanins that actually reduce inflammation, or sweeten foods with raw honey or pure maple syrup in very small amounts. These alternatives satisfy your sweet tooth while providing beneficial antioxidants. Did you ever notice your joint pain flare up after a sugary snack or dessert? Share your experience in the comments. Your story might help someone else make the connection and finally find relief. But our journey through inflammatory foods doesn't stop there, as we need to examine another category that's hiding in most seniors' kitchens. 3. Trans fats and hydrogenated oils. I witnessed this connection firsthand with Dorothy, an elegant 74-year-old woman who attended my Nutrition for Seniors workshop series at the local community center. Dorothy had been experiencing increasingly severe hip pain that was preventing her from enjoying her passion for ballroom dancing with her husband of 52 years. As I reviewed her typical daily meals, I discovered that Dorothy had been religiously eating what she thought was a healthy breakfast: whole grain toast with margarine and a store-bought bran muffin. She thought it was healthy, but both the margarine and the muffin were packed with partially hydrogenated oils, giving her a double dose of trans fats every morning. I helped Dorothy replace the margarine with avocado spread and guided her through making homemade oat muffins using olive oil instead of store-bought options. These small adjustments made a big difference. Just 6 weeks later, Dorothy was back on the dance floor, not just dancing, but leading her group's weekly practice sessions with renewed energy and noticeably less hip pain. Now I need to talk about one of the most dangerous categories of fats for anyone dealing with arthritis: trans fats and partially hydrogenated oils. These artificial fats are so inflammatory that even tiny amounts can trigger systemic inflammation that lingers for days after consumption. Trans fats disrupt the flexibility of your cell membranes, making them rigid and unable to properly regulate inflammatory responses. They also increase production of powerful inflammatory cytokines like TNF-alpha and interleukin-6, the same biomarkers doctors monitor when tracking arthritis progression. A landmark study in the American Journal of Epidemiology tracked over 32,000 participants for 8 years. Those who consumed even small daily amounts of trans fats were found to have a 40% higher risk of developing inflammatory arthritis. What's especially concerning for seniors is that trans fats also interfere with your body's ability to absorb omega-3 fatty acids, the very nutrients that reduce inflammation and support joint lubrication and healing. Speaking of hidden inflammatory ingredients, there's another common food group that might surprise you. 4. Excessive omega-6 oils. Here's where nutrition gets particularly tricky for seniors. Omega-6 fatty acids aren't inherently bad, but the overwhelming ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 in the typical American diet creates a perfect storm for chronic inflammation. Most seniors consume 15 to 20 times more omega-6 than omega-3, when the ideal ratio should be closer to 4 to 1. Common cooking oils like corn oil, soybean oil, and sunflower oil are extremely high in omega-6 fatty acids. When consumed in excess, these oils promote the production of inflammatory compounds called prostaglandins and leukotrienes, which directly contribute to joint swelling and pain. The challenge is that these oils are hidden in almost everything processed: salad dressings, mayonnaise, crackers, and restaurant foods. Research published in the Journal of Nutritional Biochemistry found that reducing omega-6 intake while increasing omega-3 consumption led to a 30% reduction in inflammatory markers within just 8 weeks. For seniors with arthritis, this balance becomes even more critical because aging naturally reduces our body's ability to convert plant-based omega-3s into the active forms our joints need. This became crystal clear when I worked with Frank, a 69-year-old retired engineer who prided himself on his logical, methodical approach to problem solving. Frank had been tracking his arthritis symptoms in a detailed spreadsheet, trying to identify patterns in his pain levels. Despite his analytical nature, Frank couldn't understand why his knee inflammation seemed to worsen during certain weeks, even when he was taking his medications consistently. During our consultation, I discovered that Frank cooked almost everything in corn oil because he'd read it was heart-healthy. I calculated that he was consuming nearly 25 grams of omega-6 fatty acids daily through his cooking oil alone. I helped Frank switch to a rotation of extra virgin olive oil for low-heat cooking and avocado oil for higher temperatures. The change in his symptoms was so dramatic that Frank later told me he wished he'd tracked his oil consumption from the beginning. His pain levels dropped by nearly 50% within 2 months. Oils affect more than just your joints. Emerging research shows they may also play a hidden role in how quickly your brain ages. That's exactly why I created a separate video diving into this connection in detail. It's called 3 Cholesterol-Free Oils That Silently Speed Up Cognitive Decline After 60. You can find the link in the video description below. Rather than relying on high omega-6 oils, switch to extra virgin olive oil, which contains oleocanthal, a natural compound with strong anti-inflammatory effects, or avocado oil for high-heat cooking. You've been told to avoid sugar and processed fats. But what if the healthy carbs you trust are just as dangerous? It's not just the sweets or fried foods. Sometimes it's the ingredients we consider wholesome that quietly cause the most harm. 5. Refined grains and white flour products. Our final inflammatory culprit might challenge everything you thought you knew about healthy eating: refined grains and white flour products. These seemingly innocent foods spike your blood sugar faster than table sugar, triggering a cascade of inflammatory responses that can persist for hours after eating. When refined grains hit your bloodstream, they cause rapid insulin spikes that promote inflammation through multiple pathways. They also lack the fiber and nutrients that help regulate inflammatory responses, essentially delivering empty calories that stress your metabolic systems. On top of that, many commercial wheat products contain lectins and phytic acid compounds known to irritate the gut lining and trigger immune responses in sensitive individuals, especially those already prone to joint issues. A comprehensive study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition tracked inflammatory markers in over 3,000 participants and found that those consuming the highest amounts of refined grains had inflammatory levels comparable to chronic smokers. For seniors, this is particularly concerning because refined grains also interfere with magnesium absorption, a mineral that's crucial for muscle and joint function. The impact of this became incredibly personal when I helped my neighbor Emma, a vibrant 71-year-old grandmother who had always been the family's primary cook and baker. Emma came to me in tears because her wrist and finger arthritis had become so severe that she could barely knead dough or hold her rolling pin, threatening to end her cherished tradition of baking homemade bread for her 6 grandchildren. As I discussed Emma's diet, I learned that she was eating toast for breakfast, a sandwich for lunch, and pasta or bread with dinner, essentially consuming refined wheat products at every meal. Her good intentions were actually fueling the very inflammation that was robbing her of her beloved hobby. I gradually transitioned Emma to ancient grains like quinoa, amaranth, and steel-cut oats, along with almond flour for her baking experiments. The transformation in Emma's life was beautiful to witness. Not only did her joint pain decrease significantly, but she discovered a whole new world of nutritious baking that her grandchildren loved even more than her traditional recipes. Last month, Emma proudly showed me photos from her granddaughter's birthday party, where she'd successfully made grain-free chocolate cupcakes that were the hit of the celebration. Swap out refined grains for nutrient-dense options like quinoa, wild rice, or steel-cut oats, which are rich in fiber and help reduce inflammation naturally. For those watching their carb intake, cauliflower rice and almond flour offer excellent low-glycemic alternatives. These swaps help regulate insulin, calm inflammatory responses, and create an internal environment where your joints can truly begin to heal. Remember, if you're finding this information helpful for managing your arthritis relief and reducing pain inflammation, please give this video a thumbs up and let me know in the comments which of these foods you're most motivated to eliminate first. Let me bring this all together for you by summarizing the 5 worst inflammatory foods we've discussed and their powerful anti-inflammatory replacements. First, I exposed how processed and deli meats load your system with AGs, and preservatives replace these with wild-caught salmon and free-range poultry. Second, I revealed how refined sugars reprogram your immune system against your joints. Choose fresh berries and minimal raw honey instead. Third, we uncovered how trans fats destroy your cell membranes and block healing. Switch to extra virgin olive oil and avocado oil. Fourth, I explained how excessive omega-6 oils create inflammatory imbalances. Restore harmony with anti-inflammatory olive oil and omega-3 rich foods. Finally, we discovered how refined grains spike inflammation through blood sugar. Embrace quinoa, wild rice, and ancient grains for sustained energy without inflammatory spikes. I want to share with you my personal daily routine for maintaining joint health and minimizing inflammation naturally. Every morning, I start with a green smoothie containing spinach, blueberries, and a tablespoon of ground flaxseed for omega-3s. My lunch typically features a large salad with mixed greens, avocado, walnuts, and grilled salmon, dressed with olive oil and lemon juice. For dinner, I enjoy quinoa or wild rice with steamed vegetables and either fish or free-range chicken, seasoned with turmeric and ginger. Between meals, I snack on a small handful of raw almonds or a cup of green tea. This simple pattern provides consistent anti-inflammatory nutrients while avoiding the trigger foods that can sabotage your progress. The key is consistency. These dietary changes work best when they become a sustainable lifestyle rather than a temporary fix. I really love to hear your answer in the comments. Are you ready to commit to eliminating just one of these inflammatory foods from your diet this week? And if so, which one will you tackle first? Your choice could be the first step toward reclaiming the pain-free, active lifestyle you deserve. If this video has opened your eyes to the hidden inflammatory triggers in your diet, be sure to tap that like button to help other seniors discover this crucial information. And don't forget to subscribe and ring the notification bell, because in the next video, I'm revealing the 3 most powerful anti-inflammatory spices that can reduce arthritis pain by up to 60% when used correctly. Your body has an incredible capacity for healing when you give it the right nutritional tools. Every meal is an opportunity to either fuel inflammation or fight it. The choice is yours, and it starts right now.